Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I request you to subscribe, like and share this video, and even don't forget to comment on the video. Now today I want us to look at multiplication of matrices, but before we proceed with the multiplication, I want us to look at some rules, or we can call them the rules. Or basically the conditions. The rules or conditions that have to be met for you to multiply or multiply any matrix. So number one, normally from our previous videos, we said a matrix can be defined by the rank, or the row by the column. Therefore, when multiplying two matrices, you have to confirm whether the column of the first matrix is similar to the row of the second matrix. So you check for the column in the first matrix, confirm whether it is similar to the row in the other matrix. So if these two are similar, then this matrix can be multiplied together. It qualifies to be multiplied together. And the solution of this matrix is usually, the solution of the matrix will be given by the number of the rows in the first matrix by the number of the columns in the second matrix. So these two will give us what we are calling as the solution of the matrix. This will give us the solution of the matrix. So for example, if we have a 2 by 3 matrix and we are supposed to multiply this by a 2 by 2 matrix, then like we've said, check the number of the columns, the number of columns in the first matrix and the number of rows in the second matrix. Are they similar? If they are not similar, then this matrix cannot be multiplied together. You cannot multiply a 2 by 3 matrix by a 2 by 2 matrix. On the other hand, if you have a 2 by 3 matrix and you are supposed to multiply it by a 3 by 3 matrix, then again, if we check the number of columns in the first matrix, compare it with the number of rows in the second matrix, then look at it. These ones are similar. And because they are similar, then this matrix can be multiplied together. And the solution of this matrix is going to be a 2 by 3 matrix. Now another example, assuming that we have been given a 3 by 3 matrix, we are supposed to multiply this by a 3 by 2 matrix. Now, if you look at the number of columns in the first matrix and the number of rows in the second matrix, compare the two. For this we can see they are similar, then we can multiply this matrix together. And the solution of the matrix is going to be a 3 by 2 matrix. This is going to be the solution. Now one last example. If we have something like maybe 2 by 3 matrix, we want to multiply it by a 2 by 3 matrix, then again the number of columns in the first matrix, compare it with the number of rows in the second matrix. These two are not similar, therefore this matrix cannot be multiplied together. So having said that, I think we can now look at multiplication of a matrix, an example. So assuming that we have an example of a matrix, we could have 1, 2, 2 minus 1. We are told this is matrix A. And then you are given again matrix B, which is 2, minus 1, 0, 1. Now, when you look at these two matrices, this is a 2 by 2 matrix. And on the other hand, we have again the second matrix as a 2 by 2 matrix. So if both of them are 2 by 2 matrices, now we look at the columns in the first matrix, look at the rows in the second matrix. These two are similar, and therefore this matrix can be multiplied together. Then the solution of our matrix is going to be given by the number of rows in the first matrix by the number of columns in the second matrix. So we expect a solution of this matrix to be a 2 by 2 matrix. Now, how do we multiply matrices? Now, for multiplying matrices, normally we do the row multiplied by the column. Always, multiplying any matrix, we consider the row by the column in the second matrix, and we add we multiply the elements as we add them together. So that in this example, we are going to have like in our first row and our first column, now we are going to have the value 1 or the element 1 multiplied with 2. Then we add 2 multiplied by 0. So we are going to have something that looks like this. We have 1 times 2. So 1, we have 1, we multiply it by 2. Then we are adding these 2. 2, this 2, we multiply by 0. So 2, multiply this by 0. So that is the first time. The second attempt, we multiply the same row in the first matrix by now the second column. The second row by the second column in our second matrix, so that we are having this row now as the second time multiplied by this column. And in this case, we are going to have 1, we multiply it by minus 1, so we'll have 1 times minus 1. Then we are adding this to 2, we multiply it by 1, so we have 2 multiply by 1. Now, when we are done multiplying the first column with the first row with all the columns that exist in the second matrix, then we move to the second row. So for this case, we are going to have 2 multiplied by 2. So we have 2 times 2. We add this to the same row, minus 1 multiplied by 0. So we have minus 1 multiplied by 0. Then again, we do the same row, that is the second row, times now the second column, so that we have 2, so 2 multiplied by minus 1, so 2 times minus 1. Then we add this to minus 1 multiplied by 1, so we have minus 1 multiplied by 1. So if you can solve this, it should be able to give us the solution for the matrix A multiplied by B, so that we have 1 multiplied by 2 will give us 2, plus 2 multiplied by 0 will give us a 0. Then we have 1 times minus 1 will give us a negative 1. 2 times 1 will give us a plus 2. we have 2 by 2 will give us a 4. Then we are adding to minus 1 times 0, which is a 0. Then we have 2 multiplied by minus 1 will give us a minus 2. And minus 1 multiplied by 1 will give us a negative 1. So that now, if we add this together, 2 plus 0 will give us a 2. So this will give us a 2. Minus 1, you add to 2 will give us a 1, a positive 1. 4 plus 0 will give us a 4. And minus 2 minus 1 will give us a minus 3. And this is going to be the solution of the matrix A multiplied by matrix B. Now, let us have another example. We say we are given a matrix 1, 2, 3. For example, we have A, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 4, 5, 6. This is our first matrix. And our matrix B, which is 10, 20, 10, minus 10, 10, 10. We have matrix A and B. Our matrix A is we can count the number of rows, there are 2, the number of columns are 3. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix. And in our second matrix, we have 3 columns, 3 rows, 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2 matrix. Now, like we said, for you to multiply a matrix, check the number of columns in the first matrix compared to the number of rows in the second matrix. Are they similar? Now, for this case, 3 and 3 are similar. So we can comfortably multiply these two matrices. And the answer of our matrix is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, because now when we check the number of rows in our first matrix and the number of columns in the second matrix, it should give you a 2 by 2 matrix. Now, back to our matrix, and like we said, we are doing the number of rows we multiplied by the columns in the second matrix. So rows multiplied by the columns, and we are adding them. So this case, we are going to multiply this row by this column first, so that we have 1 multiplied by 10. So 1 times 10. This one we add it to 2, we multiply it by 10. So we have 2 multiplied by 10. And we add it to 3 multiplied by 10. So we have 3 multiply this by 10. Now, secondly, the same row with the second column now on the other matrix, so that we have 1 multiplied by 20. So we have 1 times 20. We have 2 times minus 10. So we add 2 times negative 10. And we add it to 3 times 10. So we have 3 multiply this by 10. Then we are done with the first row and all the columns in the other matrix. We go to the second row now. So let me just change this color. So we have this row 4. We want to multiply it now by 10 again. So we have 4 multiplied by 10. We are adding this to 5 multiplied by 10, so 5 times 10, and we are adding this to 6 multiplied by 10, so we have 6 multiply this by 10. We are done with that. So again, the second row multiplied now by the second column in the second matrix, so that we have 4 multiplied by 20. We add these to 5 multiplied by minus 10, so 5 multiply this by negative 10, and lastly we add 6 multiplied by 10, so we have 6 multiplied by 10. Now, before we even continue, I want you to check this. Every time this value, you can see this 10 and 10, this is 10 and 10, this is 10 and 10, this is 20 and 20, this is minus 10, minus 10, this is 10, 10. So anytime these values are not the same for each column of your multiplication, then already you need to know that you are wrong, and you need to look for where you've gone wrong. So let us proceed with our question and continue with our multiplication. So 1 multiplied by 10 will give us a 10. We are adding this to 2 multiplied by 10, which is a 20, and 3 multiplied by 10, which is a 30. So we are adding this together. Then 1 multiplied by 20, which is 20. We are adding this to 2 multiplied by 10, which is minus 20. And lastly, 3 multiplied by 10, which is plus 30. Then 4 multiplied by 10, which is 40. We add this to 5 multiplied by 10, which is 50. We add this to 6 multiplied by 10, which is 60. Then we have 4 multiplied by 20, which is 80. 80. We are adding this to 5 multiplied by 10, which is minus 50. And then lastly 6 multiplied by 10, which is a 60. Now when we add this together, 10 plus 20 is 30, 30 plus 30 should give you a 60. So we have 60. 20 plus minus 20 is a 0, plus 30 should give you a 30. 40 plus 50 is 90, and 90 plus 60 should give you 150. And lastly, 80 plus minus 50 should give you a 30. A 30 plus 60 should give you 90. You can just confirm this from your calculator so that you can check that we are correct. So generally, that is how we had our we multiply our matrices. We can have another example. In this case, or this time round, we can look at an example of a 3 by 3 matrix. Now, we are given the matrix A, or let us call this time round maybe a matrix B, which is 1, 1, 0, minus 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3. And C, which is 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, minus 1, 1, negative 2. So we have these two matrices. When we look at the matrix, matrix B is a 3 by 3 matrix, and matrix C is also a 3 by 3 matrix. So if we check the number of columns in our first matrix compared to the number of rows in our second matrix, these two are similar. Now, because they are similar, these two matrices can be multiplied together, and the solution of this matrix is going to be a 3 by 3 because we are checking the number of rows in the first column by the number of columns in the second matrix. So this is going to be a 3 by 3 matrix, the solution of B multiplied by C. So if we have B by C, this one is going to give us now remember, every time we are multiplying matrices, what we are doing, we are simply doing the row multiplied by the column in the second matrix, always. And we consider the first row with all the 3 columns, then the second row, again the same 3 columns, the third row with all the 3 columns. So like we did for a 2 by 2 matrix, for a 3 by 3 matrix, this is how it's going to look like. So we are going to have our matrix, our element 1, we multiplied it by 2. So we have 1 multiplied by 2. We are adding this to 1 multiplied by 2 again. So 1 times 2. And lastly 0 multiplied by minus 1. So 0 times minus 1. So this is the first time. So the second time, we have done the first by the first column. Now, second time again, we do now with the second column. So that we have 1, we multiply this by 1. So this 1 multiplied by 1. We go to 1 multiplied by 2. So we have 1 times 2. And we do 0 multiplied by 1. So we have 0 times 1. We are done with the first row, second column. Now, lastly, first row, we go to the third column now. So that we have 1, we multiply it by 1. So 1 multiplied by 1. We add this. Sorry, we are adding these ones. I forgot to give us the addition sign. So these ones are added. So 1 multiplied by 1, we add it to 1 multiplied by 2. So 1 multiplied this by 2. And lastly, 0 multiplied by minus 2. So 0 multiply this by negative 2. So that is the first row with our columns. We now move to the second row. So we have the second row and then the first column now. First row, second column. So we have minus 1. We are multiplying it by 2. So minus 1, multiply this by 2. We are adding this 2. A 2 multiply by 2. So we have a 2 by 2 here. Then we add this to 1. We are multiplying it to minus 1. So we have 1 times minus 1. Again, the second row, we multiply it now by the second column so that we have minus 1. You multiply it by 1. So minus 1 times 1. We add this to 2. We are multiplying it by 2. So we have a 2 times 2. We add this to 1. We multiplied it by 1. So we have 1 times 1. Then lastly, the same row, we multiplied by the third column now. So that we have minus 1 times 1. So minus 1 times 1. So minus 1 times 1. Then we add this to 2 multiplied by 2. So we have 2 multiplied by 2. and we add this to 1. We are adding it to 1, we multiply it with minus 2. So 1 times minus 2. 1 times minus 2. Now, lastly, we have now our third row with the first column. So we have 1 times 1. So here down we have 1 times 1. We have 1 times 2. So we add this, 1 times 2. And then we add 3 times minus 1. So 3 multiplied by minus 1. Now, second time we have the third row, our second column, so that we have 1. So we have 1 multiplied by 1. So we have 1 by 1. We add it to 1. We multiply it by 2. So we have 1 times 2. And then we add to 3 multiplied by 1. So we have 3 times 1. Now lastly, we have our third row. We are multiplying now with our third column. So that we have 1, we multiply it by 1. So 1 times 1. We have 1, we multiply it by 2. So we have 1, we add it to 1 times 2. And lastly, we have 3, we are multiplying it by minus 2. So we have plus 3 times minus 2. Now, when you work out this, it should give us the solution for the matrix B times C. Again, like we said in our other matrix, ensure that these values here, the 2, 2, so there's something wrong here. So we go back to our matrix because this should be the same, it should be 2. And this one arose from, we were doing 1, we were doing our matrix 1, we were doing the matrix 1 multiplied by this one here. So that is where we went wrong. So this should always be the same. So that should be 2. Now, we go back and compare our values. So this should be 2 all round. This again should be 2 all round. This should be 1, that is negative 1. This is a positive 1. This is a 2. This is a 1. This is 1. This is 2. And this is minus 2. So if all these values are similar, then you are in the right track. If by any chance one value is not matching, then possibly there's somewhere we've gone wrong. Now, we go back now and compute the solution for this. 1 multiplied by 1 will give us 1 multiplied by 2 should give us a 2. So we have 2. We are adding it to 1 times 2, which is 2. And we are adding it to 0 times minus 1, which is 0. Then we have 1 times 1, which is 1. We are adding it to 1 times 2, which is 2. And we add it to 0 times 1, which is 0. Then we have 1 times 1, which is 1. We add it to 1 times 2, which is 2, and we add it to 0 times minus 2, which is 0. In our second row, we have minus 1 times 2, which is minus 2. We are adding it to 2 times 2, which is 4, and we are adding it to 1 times minus 1, which is minus 1. Then we have minus 1 times 1, which is minus 1. We are adding it to 2 times 2, which is 4, and we add it to 1 times 1, which is 1. Then we have minus 1 times 1, which is minus 1. We are adding it to 2 times 2, which is 4. and 1 times minus 2, which is minus 2. Then we have 1 times 2, which is 2. We are adding it to 1 times 2, which is 2, and we are adding it to 3 times minus 1, which is minus 3. Then we have 1 times 1, which is 1. We add it to 1 times 2, which is 2, and 3 times 1, which is 3. This is 1. Then lastly, we have 1 times 1, which is 1. We add 1 times 2, which is 2, and we add 3 times minus 2, which is minus 6. So if we say 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 0 is 4. So the solution here is going to be 4. We have 1 plus 2, which is 3. 3 plus 0 is 3. Then we have 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 0 is 3. We have minus 2 plus 4, which is 2. Then 2 plus minus 1 is 1. Minus 1 plus 4, which is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. Then minus 1 plus 4 is 3. 3 plus minus 2 is 1. We have 2 plus 2, which is 4. 4 plus minus 3 should give us 1. We have 1 plus 2, which is 3. 3 plus 3, which is 6. 1 plus 2, which is 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus minus 6 should give us minus 3. And this becomes the solution for our matrix B multiplied by C, B times C. And we can see that this matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix, which confirms what we had said before, that when we multiply these two matrices, it should always give us a 3 by 3 matrix. And we have confirmed that the solution for this matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix. Now, sometimes we are given a matrix. For example, you are told that you have been given a matrix A, which is 2, 4, 3, 1, and you are told that determine 2A. So 2A means that we are multiplying 2 by the matrix A. And for such kind of a question, you have 2 and we are multiplying it by 2, 4, 3, 1. Then to solve such kind of a question, then normally we multiply each element by the value that is outside our matrix. So for this case, it's going to be 2 multiplied by 2, 2 multiplied by 4, 2 multiplied by 3, and 2 multiplied by 1. So that we have 2 by 2 is 4, 2 by 4 is 8, 2 by 3 is 6, 2 by 1 is 2. So this is going to be the solution for the matrix 2A. Another example. You are told that you have the matrix B, which is 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2. Then you are told determine a half B. So similar to our last example, a half B is a half multiplied by the matrix B, which is 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2. So again, multiply the value that is outside our matrix with all the elements in our matrix. So a half times 3 is going to be 1.5. A half times 1 is going to be 0.5. And a half by 4 is going to give us 2. A half by 2 will give us 1. A half by 1 will give us 0.5. And a half multiplied by 2 is going to give us 1. So this is going to be the solution of a half B. So having said all that, I'm going to leave this video at that, and I'll prepare another one where I'll be solving further examples on multiplication of matrices. So thank you so much for working with me all through to this point. Kindly like, subscribe, and share this video. Give us comments, tell us what you want us to solve for you, and we will be more than glad to tackle those questions for you. Otherwise, thank you so much, and see you on our next video.